Hey, it's Brock here with Uncommon Aquatics, and today we're going to be taking a look at my new 110-gallon acrylic aquarium. Now, when I saw this listed in a local Facebook group, I got really excited because the price was good, it was close to me, it was large enough, it came with a sump and a canister filter, and it's got some features that I've always wanted, like the rounded corners that you can only get with an acrylic, or that you mainly would only get with an acrylic. It's rimless. I think it's an awesome aquarium, but after picking it up, I'm worried I may have got too excited and rushed out and bought it before doing all my research. There are a few things about this that have me concerned, and I want to go through it all, show you guys the problems that this has, get some feedback from you about what you think I should do on it, and kind of lay out my plan. Also in this video, we're going to go ahead and get it filled up with water, at least partially, make sure it's going to hold water, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I was going to take this lid off to show you guys some of these problems with the aquarium, but I guess I should start with the lid. You can see that this is broken off and it's been reattached. It's also been broken off here and reattached. And this is a critical spot because this is where your hinge, a pin goes through right here, and that's what your lid hinges on. And you've got the same thing on the other side, basically. At this side, they didn't get the piece reattached. And where this hinge is, it's been broken right here. Now, the explanation I was given is that when you swing this lid up and you try to stand it up, you can't let go of it. Now, like if it's up against the wall, it can pivot back and hit the wall. But if it's not against the wall, it will flip all the way back, and that's how it got broken. So the lid is one issue. Now, the guy I bought it from, he took it in trade and was going to set it up, and now he's moving. Long story that doesn't matter. He never put water in it. So if I was putting this in my house, it does have a nice look to it with that shiny gloss black. Out here in the fish room, I really don't even care that much about the look. I'm all about functionality. Now, this is an acrylic tank, and I've never had an acrylic tank before, but the entire stand is acrylic, which is really cool. It's got these cutouts. It's lightweight. I mean, this tank is so easy for one person to carry. And this acrylic apparently though is brittle, because I set the aquarium onto the stand by myself, and whenever I did, it hit this corner and busted off another piece. So this thing's kind of falling apart around me. Now, I think I can take some flex tape and put across here some black flex tape, and it'll hold that back together. You know, that outer piece isn't really structural, but it's a problem. And eventually this tank may end up on pallet racking like my others. Anyway, let's get this lid off of there and take a look at the tank. I guess if we're grading whether or not I got a good deal, it matters what the price is. I paid $350 for this aquarium with the stand, the filtration. Now, our next issue is these marks on the glass. I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up. I'm trying to put my hand in there as like a backing for it. And you see all those scratches? Hopefully the video and the camera can pick up all those scratches. And if you look down it this way, he kind of called that glazing. I'm not even familiar with that term. But I've been told with acrylic aquariums, they get scratched and you can buff out those scratches. So for filming my aquarium, a lot of people say that those scratches, you don't see them much once there's water in them. And that's true, because this 125, this first 125 I got has a ton of scratches in it, and you don't see them as much. But I remember them being there. But I do plan to film this aquarium, so I really want it to be crystal clear on the front. So the first research I have to do is how to buff or polish or clean up the scratches on an acrylic aquarium. The second issue was with the lid. Next thing to look at here, it's not an issue. I think it's unusual to have plumbing on a canister filter into the back of an aquarium. And most of the drilled aquariums I've seen have kind of an overflow box in the aquarium, and this doesn't. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. And in a minute, we're going to hook up this filter. On the other side, these are capped off. These are supposed to go to the sump, and they run down here through the holes in the back into the sump. Same thing with this. The canister filter will set inside here, and the hoses will go through and plug into the filter. And it's fairly clean setup like that. But this one has a shutoff on it, and this one has a plug in it, which allows us to fill this up and leak test the aquarium without fixing the sump. Now we have some new hoses still in the bag here. They still have the part number on them. These are clearly brand new. I guess those go to the sump. But the sump is the next problem. So to show you that, I'm gonna have to take the aquarium off the stand. When we get into this next part, just for reference, I've always had aquariums, but I've never had any surplus of money. So I've only had one type of aquarium. That is the box store aquarium. It's got the rim on it and the plastic cross braces. It's the only kind of tank I've ever had. And I always had hang on the back filters. Then I graduated up. I've tried a bunch of different canisters now. Never had a rimless, never had acrylic, never had a sump. Those are expensive things that were just never in my budget till I started buying all these used tanks. So let's take a look at the way this is made. So the sump is too big. It will not fit through the doors is what I was told. And that looks to be true. You cannot take the sump out with the aquarium on the stand, which is a little bit annoying. You can see these have a really fancy hinge. They're easy open and easy close. They do stay. So this was an expensive setup when it was new. Okay, this center section lifts off, and here we have our parts for the sump. But I have never ran a sump, so I don't know how this works. These do not look like parts that would have went with this setup. I know some guys with a lot of experience that can, probably help me out locally. But I honestly don't even know how this was set up. So we have our first bit of information about where this came from. As eShop's manufacturer of aquarium filtration. So I can look up eShops, hopefully, and get some more information on this. This looks like it's been repaired as well. So this has been broken at some point. So here we have some kind of an overflow box. Then we've got this hose that runs down. We've got two new hoses. We've got this U. We've got this. I'm not sure where that sets on. Is that a spray bar? We got this little box. Obviously, we've got this down here that the media goes in. I've got a lot to figure out here. Now, if anyone's wondering why I would buy this setup without understanding how the sump works, my other channel that I do for a living, it's called Rock Hill Farms, and it's all DIY. It's all building stuff, learning, running equipment, stuff like that. So my intention was always that I was going to build my own sumps and get into that whole hornet's nest. And I was kind of looking for an aquarium that had a sump so I could use that sump to learn about them. The last point on that is I don't think they're that complicated. I just haven't done it before. Now this is the canister filter that came with it. It's a Cascade Pinplex. See what it's rated for if it says on it. It's a Cascade 1500, which means I can look it up and see what it filters. A quick Google search brings up the manufacturer rating on this, which says 350 gallons of water per hour that run through it, which means they rate it for 200 gallons. Now, personally, that says, according to that rating, that that is twice what you need here. I would not consider this sufficient filtration for most of my setups. But actually, that's another topic of conversation. I'd like you guys to tell me what type of stocking you'd like to see in this. Now, in case you're new here, I already have angelfish breeding tank. I've got a Salvini breeding tank. I've got an Acara breeding tank. I've got goldfish and koi. I've got monster fish back here with the South American cichlids, and the bichers and the arowana. I've got an angelfish and discus tank over there. African cichlids. That one is just heavily planted. Then I've got 4 shrimp tanks. So I've got a pretty good variety. And I'm leaning towards this being a densely planted community tank on a little bit different theme than my other community tanks. And for the densely planted community tank, you don't need as much filtration. But let's find out if this is a working filter and if the aquarium even holds water. And here we go with the first shot of water into the new tank. Oh, she's a beaut, Clark. She's a beaut. And we're not leaking yet. I'd say it's perfect. If it doesn't leak in the first 10 seconds, then probably golden. So there is not much media in this, which is a problem. I do have a box of this Flu Ball Biomax that we can put in here. And then I've got a cycled sponge, actually a couple cycled sponges out of other aquariums I can add. So we'll fill this tray up with this. I probably should rinse it, but I think we're a long way from putting anything in this tank, so it doesn't probably matter too much right now. I've never used this filter before, but I'm going to assume they want you to fill it with water, and then it has a prime button on the top that I did notice. Now, if I had any eagle-eye viewers that were paying attention when I was putting the canister together, you might have noticed that there was a tray missing, and that top tray is designed a little different and it goes on top, and it was missing. I had set it off to the side. I went ahead and got that, and I got it added in with the rest and then closed it back up. Now, one nice thing about this type of setup, one negative I guess, is I don't know where you get an actual lid if you want to use this without the hood. I don't know where you're going to get a good fitting lid. I guess just a clear piece of plexiglass with a handle on it would easily go on there and you could just set it off. But one real positive is I like to seal my aquariums up tight a lot. One reason is I like to keep eels and like rope fish like this guy back here. I don't know if you can see that rope fish. Yeah, poking his head out down there. Or eels or arowana that like to try to jump out of your aquarium. And this one would be much easier to seal than any aquarium I've had in the past because of the way the top is made. It's also got these cutouts, which look to me like they would do it well for hang on the back filters. So I've got the canister filter on here. I could put another canister filter on here just by converting these hoses over and run 2 canisters like most of my other aquariums. I could run that canister with 2 over the back, hang on the back filters. Then you've got these cutouts here for your heater or your air lines or anything like that to pass through as well. At this point, the water is above the inlet for the canister filter. And we don't have any leaks yet. Let's see for leaking back here. We do have a drip right here. So we're gonna have to take this apart and check, see if we need a gasket or what we need to seal that up. So this is the inlet hose. I've got it open. I've got the outlet open. And now we have a leak here. So I've never used this brand of filter at all, but it's leaking up here, and there's a seal or a gasket right there. And that seal seems to be in place. I don't know if that's the only thing that could cause this leak. I'm gonna have to do my research. Okay, we've put it back together. And I've made a mess on the floor. I'm gonna open these valves up again. All right, so I just turned it on because even if it leaks, it can tell us, you know, if it's even still functional. So we've got this opened up. We've got a primer bulb. Okay, I pushed that. One said you turn that off and you push the primer and then you open it. We do have water flow coming through the filter, but we've also got multiple drip leaks. One here, maybe down here, and then right there. So I'm going to take that as good news and bad news. It does run, it does pump water, probably needs some seals. Hopefully it's just a matter of getting a few rubber seals. I've got the part number on the filter, should be able to find that out and get those replaced. As it is, I need to shut it off so it doesn't leak until I get the parts. Now I need all of you to go in the comments section and tell me, did I mess up buying this aquarium, or will it be a great option for the fish room once I get the bugs worked out of it? What kind of fish and stocking and aquascaping do you think I should do in this tank? Because I'm leaning towards doing my first true, well-designed aquascape in here. Everything else is just got plants in it. It's not an aquascape. But let me know, what do you think I should put in here? And what do you think? Do you have any advice on the sump before I get started on that? Anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.